Da-da-da-da. We are on our last conference in the AFC. And this is the AFC North, the division of conference, the division of defense, the division of brawls.
The grittiest division in football.
And the division of balls. So many headlines to discuss from this offseason. Chuck, let's start us off.
Okay.
Biggest headline, AFC North.
Biggest headline is going to have to be that Deshaun Watson does not step foot on the field for the Cleveland Browns for the entire season. I think with the allegations all piling up, maybe, he's going to pay it off and stuff. But I think it's just like a disgrace to what the Browns are doing and what's going on with that man. And nobody has a single clue as to what is happening. I don't think that guy should step on the field for this season again. I think he should clear everything up and get this thing straight and forward. Because if Michael Vick, if he did all those dog things, and like in reality, it was a cultural thing.
Dog things,
you know, the dog fights. In reality, it was a cultural thing, but like he was put into prison for like a year and a half, I'm pretty sure, or a year and 2 months or something like that. And then he got a chance, and luckily got a chance. But this is something that's been a problem going on with players and assault in general with women. So I think this is a fucking huge story, and I don't think it gets covered enough. And Deshaun should not set foot on the field this season.
You're damn right. It should be covered way more. The things that this guy did was repulsive. And then the Browns reward him with one of the largest contracts in
disgusting.
$240 million guaranteed. He's basically saying, "Hey, let me pay for your lawyer fees."
Disgusting.
You know what? I'm done talking about the Browns. I'm talking about another team that is going a little south in the North, and that is the Pittsburgh Steelers. My biggest headline is the Steelers' success over these past 10 years, consistent winning under Mike Tomlin. Is it going to come to an end this year? Now they're moving on from Big Ben, and
respectfully,
of course. Now the thing is, Big Ben played like a human piece of waste last year.
He tried his best.
Yeah, the old man tried his best, but at the same time, it's the leadership qualities and how he kind of was the glue for this team. It's going to be hard losing that. But it's not just them losing Big Ben. It's the fact that this division from 1 to 3 is absolutely stacked. And then you're going to bring in a rookie quarterback or a quarterback that hasn't really proved anything yet. You're going to put one of them into the system. And yeah, Mike Tomlin's a good coach, but it's a tough schedule, man. It's not going to be easy. And with all the talent in AFC, we got 3 teams in AFC West to make the playoffs.
We might have 3 teams in the AFC North that make the playoffs. Who do you think starts week 1?
Trubisky, absolutely.
They give Mitch.
They roll the veteran in.
Do you think Kenny gets any snaps?
Oh yeah, they'll both get
snaps.
snaps. The veteran will struggle, and the rookie will come in when everyone's tired of the veteran. That's how it always works in these situations. Chuck, MVP. You got a stacked division full of players, but there can only be one MVP. Who you got?
My MVP for the AFC North is going to be Lamar Jackson, quarterback, Baltimore Ravens. It's literally like the choice of the division. Like, he's gonna get his money and then he's gonna ball. He's absolutely gonna ball the fuck out because he has no receivers and he's gonna have like 4 tight ends on the field and like 1 running back. They're gonna run like triple option, tight end boot, everything. They're gonna bring out everything in the kitchen sink for Lamar once he gets his money, that he's gonna absolutely explode this season because they're Super Bowl or bust, that team. And I'll get into it more because
Super Bowl or bust.
I'm huge on the Ravens because I got a stat for you in a second, but my MVP is going to be Lamar.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with an MVP who's actually been further in the playoffs. Mr. Joe Burrow. He was nowhere close to MVP last year, but he took the league by storm so effectively. He's now like a top 5 rated quarterback among multiple different rankings online, including at ESPN. Where did this hype come from? Well, I think it's well deserved. Joe Burrow has a knack for carrying teams from the depths last season to promoting them to great. He did it at LSU, and now he's doing it for the Bengals. He's Mr. Clutch, and if they had a better O-line, then they probably would have won the Super Bowl last year. But now they add 3 offensive linemen. Gonna be scary out there.
I mean, I can see him winning it at the same time, but there's just so much competition in this division. It could be absolutely anybody, I think.
We'll
But
get to
I'm
that
on
later.
He's on Joe.
We'll get to that later. But you got a stat for me before we move on?
Yes. So absolutely the Baltimore Ravens. Now, are we gonna go over breakout players? Because I got a breakout player for you.
You want to hit me with your breakout player?
Yes. So this stat goes with the breakout player. So the Baltimore Ravens, it was some percentage that they had like the most injuries within the team with their starters. They had the most injuries in the league that had to do with starters, but they had the most injuries and they still finished 9-8. There are other teams that had like probably less injuries, but they probably finished less. But they managed to have maybe all their starters on their defense, all their wide receivers, and like Lamar Jackson was even hurt. And they managed to go 9-8 and almost make the playoffs and even almost make a run. But now they've added some guys and people are coming back to the defense. So my breakout player for the division is going to be Marcus Williams from the Saints coming over to the Ravens. Now, the whole secondary, they got Kyle Hamilton, right? They drafted him. They got Marcus Williams, this is my guy. So it's going to be him, Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Peters. I'm pretty sure Marlon Humphreys is coming back. That is a fucking solid secondary right there. That's 4 guys on the back end that you trust. They're all dudes, and they're going to get it done. And I think the Ravens are going to go a long way because Marcus Williams is added to the floor, and they're going to switch in guys now on defense, and then they're going to absolutely ball on offense with the MVP.
I like that pick, Chuck. If you guys don't remember Marcus Williams, he was a guy that whiffed on the tackle versus Stephon Diggs in the Minneapolis Miracle. He's known for that, but he's quietly growing to one of the best safeties in the NFL.
100%.
My breakout player is actually on the same team. It's a little bit of a surprising one, but let me ask you this question.
Yes.
Who do the Ravens have at wide receiver?
Absolutely nobody.
Exactly.
But I got a couple names here. Rashad Bateman, nobody knows who that is. He's fast as fuck. Duvernay, punt returner guy. He's nasty, but fast as fuck, but nobody knows who that is.
Listen.
But you're right. They don't have shit.
Listen, though. You mentioned Duvernay. Nobody knows who he is. I bet you everyone in the league will know who Devin Duvernay is. Devin Duvernay is my breakout player.
Yes.
Duvernay is going into his second year now.
Mm-hmm.
He was electric as a punt returner, and people forget that the wide receiver position is not always a position you can learn in a year. Now, Lamar's got nobody to throw to. They just shipped off Marquise Brown. We don't know. Bateman's obviously very talented, but we don't know the extent of his talent yet.
Yeah.
But what we do know is Duvernay has world-class speed, 4.36 speed,
Yes.
and if the
That's
Ravens want to make their play action more lethal, they gotta get the receivers involved. And I could see Duvernay as a weapon for Lamar because Lamar, for some reason, can't throw 20 yards down the field. Duvernay could be that guy who catches like the in between the 10-yard plays and turns them into electric runs. I love Duvernay as a sleeper in fantasy, but he is my breakout player for this division.
I totally agree with that. Duvernay is going to take the top off. That just last comment, Lamar throwing 20 plus, he's actually nasty. So I'm going to retrain that. And Lamar's going to absolutely throw it to Duvernay. I totally agree. But over the top.
Yes. If he can hit them. I don't know. That's sometimes that ball just wobbles on them. You don't know what it is.
We got Andrews out. Andrews will get it.
All right. Who will get the X Factor designation for this season?
Okay. So my X Factor, I was going to say, like, I don't want to go all Ravens. I was going to say Mark Andrews because I think he's going to be the next top tight end. Because not only can he block, but he can also catch everything. And he's going to be Lamar's target. But side note, my X Factor is going to be Chase Claypool, wide receiver of the Steelers. Now,
okay,
he talks a lot of talk. He's on social media a lot. He did have, like, I'd say an okay year last year. But I think he's going to be their number one guy. And I think he's going to explode onto the scene. And he's going to finally, like, they're going to draw up plays for him, post routes, fade routes. Because they're going to have to give somebody the ball on that side of the field. Because they have Najee Harris, and they really don't have a solidified quarterback. Maybe Mitchell Trubisky balls out. But Mitch needs a guy that he can throw to. Like Deontay Johnson, he's a short dude. But Chase Claypool is actually a fucking dude. He's like 6'4", Like, dude, he runs so fast. He ran like a 4.5. So I'm hoping like he breaks out and absolutely takes the top off the defense against any team in this division.
You know, I think Claypool's biggest problem last season, he was just kind of a bonehead.
Yeah, seriously,
Right?
seriously.
Like, so much,
the word.
so much talent has got put together mentally. I think he'll go
100%.
far. My X factor is maybe the most important player for the Browns this season, and that is Roger Goodell. He is the player who holds the cards to the Browns season. Will Watson actually be suspended, rightfully so or not? Will he be suspended? It's in Goodell's hands. You know, we know he has no precedent with any of his punishments in the past. So why would this season be any different? Who knows how much is going to get suspended? There's rumors out there, but as far as that, the X factor in who wins the division lies in the hands of the commissioner.
Yeah, it's gotta be Roger.
But before we get to our division winner, you got any bold predictions?
Bold prediction: maybe Cincinnati goes 9-8.
I
They finish third.
hate that prediction, but
Maybe they go 9-8, finish third. I don't know.
I will tell you why
I think they got a
that
lucky
is.
run last year. I think they got a lot of easy games. They played the Ravens twice, who were missing half their team. So they may go 9-8.
I'll get to you in 1 second, but
What's your hot take?
my hot take. I know a big fan base won't like this, but the Steelers will have 5 wins or less this year.
I like that. Yeah, they could finish last too.
Mike Tomlin on his way out.
Yeah.
Okay,
Probably
maybe not
time.
that far.
Maybe it's time. Maybe it's
not
time.
that far.
Maybe
but
it's
the
time.
Steelers, 5 wins or less, I'm going to lock that shit in. Let's get to our winner. Chuck, I'm going to say it right off the bat, and I have the Bengals as my AFC North winner, even if the Cleveland Browns have Watson playing for an extended period of time. And I'll tell you why. This team was so talented last year, and they barely lost anything to their team, but they added 3 excellent offensive linemen. I've talked to you about this a lot of times, but you don't understand how important it is. That is the one thing that held this team back last year, is that they couldn't block for Burrow. Now, can you imagine what kind of season Burrow and Mixon are going to have with the O-line back there, 2 electric receivers, and a very solid defense that can get the job done?
Yeah, not only solid defense, they're retaining like every starter. So.
I like the Ravens. I think they're a playoff team. The Browns, I really don't know what to say.
Last.
The
Deshaun
Browns,
Watson plays maybe 6-11.
I think third, even if I still think they're better than the Steelers, even if Watson doesn't play. But yeah, I think it is between the Ravens and Bengals, assuming Watson is out for the year.
Okay, I agree.
I will say though, if Watson does play, I got the Browns in second.
Okay, that's
Ravens
a hot take.
third.
Okay. Deshaun Watson plays. What week do you think he comes in though?
He
I
would
think he comes in week 10.
Week 10.
He gets 7 games.
Right.
Agreed.
8 game suspension for bye.
So by then, I would say my division will look like this. So with Deshaun Watson coming back in week 10, my division will look like this. I would say maybe you're right. Cincinnati is the complete team and they win. Then it's the Ravens, then Browns third because they have Watson. Steelers last.
You changing your mind?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
100%.
you're convinced?
Yeah. That's if Deshaun Watson comes back. If Deshaun Watson doesn't come back the entire season, which I hope he doesn't. The first take. Ravens, Cincinnati, Steelers, Browns.
So you think if Watson comes back, they're
because no, if Watson comes back, they're third. If he doesn't come back entire season, they're last. And Steelers are third, and the Ravens win because you put Deshaun Watson in at the end of the season. Some teams have 2 division games at the end of the season rather than the beginning of the season. So if he comes back week 10, say the Ravens. I haven't looked at any of their schedules, but say if the Ravens play like the Browns twice at the end of the season. One game they didn't, and both games they had Deshaun Watson, they lost. But say the Cincinnati Bengals played the Browns twice already in the earlier this season, and they won. So Cincinnati can jump the Ravens because they have a division win over that.
Interesting.
So it all depends. That's why I have the 2 all jumbled up.
I want to ask you this though, and so you were talking about you think the Browns will be in last
If no Deshaun whole season.
But here's the thing: what did Baker do for his team last year? that helped them. You know.
I just want to say, I think schematically they're a run-first team, but I think Baker had the arm to put the ball in places where Jarvis Landry can go get it, or the other guy, Higgins.
And they're still a run-first team, so I don't want to get too into this, but I think if the Browns don't have Watson the entire season, I think they're closer to 9-8 or 8-9 instead of last. Unless you think the Steelers are going to be much better than I think.
So this is what I break it down by. So like the Browns, right? They have the dominant run game.
What's the record? What is each team's record in your division?
So
Guessing.
Ravens, I think the Ravens. Well, I think it's the toughest division in football. So Ravens might go like 11-6 to win it. Cincinnati might go 10-7, and then the other two teams, because it's so tough, maybe one of them goes 9-8 and the other one's 5-11. So like if Browns have if the Steelers, maybe the Steelers go 9-8 because they have such prolific defense. Like that defense is stacked for the Steelers. The Browns don't have a stacked defense. That's why I think they're going to be last. Like if you want to win games, you got to have a good defense. Cincinnati Bengals, good defense. Ravens are going to have a great defense. Everyone's coming back. Browns, they don't really have a prolific defense. I mean, they have Myles Garrett, one of the top pass rushers in the league, but I'm trying to think of their secondary, like Denzel Ward. He really, I don't know if he has made a mark.
Greedy Williams.
They're all these guys fast.
They struggled last year.
Exactly.
They did have their COVID issues and their Baker issues, but
exactly.
The secondary definitely struggled last year. The run defense is great though.
Defense wins championships. That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah, so let me break it down for you real quick in my division. I think the Bengals are one of the elite teams in the AFC. And another note, they play the AFC East. So they will have a tough schedule. So I will knock down the wins for each of these more. So Bengals 11-6.
That's a good point.
I think the Ravens, let's say they also go 11-6, but they lose the tiebreaker to the Bengals. And then you get the Browns coming in 8-9, and then Steelers 5-12.
Yeah, mine would probably be flip flop. So Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. If Watson comes back or not, it shifts.
That's why I say
wins
Mr.
or
Goodell.
losses.
That's why I say Mr. Goodell X Factor. Absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Side note: before we get off track, did you know that the New York Jets play each AFC North team for the first 4 weeks?
I did not know that. That's got to be
division games. They play Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. That's their schedule.
Has that ever happened in NFL?
I don't know. I think the NFL likes to put all the intra-division games like.